So here we've got another Photoshop study that I'm looking at. This is another scene from Perfume, Story of a Murderer. This is a challenging kind of city scene. So instead of drawing those complex arches twice in perspective, I just copied it onto another layer and sort of squished it using the transform tool back into space. And now I'm unifying everything with a light mid-tone. Again, trying to work with the entire image at the same time. When I do studies like this, I don't necessarily try to imitate the source material. I'm trying to interpret it and come up with a painterly rendition that is, in some sense, a distillation of the original idea. So I'm taking information away from the original source. When it comes to organizing Photoshop layers, I do find it helpful to be careful with those early in the process. If you're doing personal work, it doesn't matter as much. If you're doing work for a client or you're part of a larger workflow in a studio environment or at an animation or game studio, it's going to be really important that you organize your assets in the way that the company needs you to, and it also makes it's a good habit to get into, even though if you're not making work that calls for it, it's not really worth doing. But every time I do it, I end up being glad that I did it. Most of the time I use that as I'm figuring out and problem solving through a painting. And then I reach a point where all of the different layers aren't helpful, and I'll either flatten them or I'll put them into a group and leave them alone, and then I'll have sort of one main paint layer on top of everything. One of the habits I'm trying to remember to do also is be tidy. So here I'm trying to remind myself to select the area that I'm working within, just to keep things a little bit visually cleaner. Mostly just because I don't want to have to deal with any more visual. I don't want to make myself have to process unnecessary visual information while I'm also trying to solve visual problems. So I find that having a tidy work area makes my work better and more efficient. My goal with this piece is I'm treating this sort of like a drawing, in the way that I'm not interested in real complex color relationships or any really careful perspective details. It's really looking at the overall idea of how these shapes read. So here I've got a smaller version of the reference to look at while I'm working on the focal point of this boat here in the foreground. Not great with boats, but that's a great reason to practice. One artist I always really like the way that he manages to keep texture in his paintings is Craig Mullins, who's at goodbrush.com. He's somebody who's put a lot of time and energy into learning traditional media, and it really shows in his work. Thanks for watching.